Hi, I'm Dr. Tara Lennon, and I coordinate ASU's participation in the Arizona Legislative and Governmental Internship Program. Now, this selective program is open actually to all the universities in Arizona, and we place interns down at the Capitol, at the legislature, the governor's office, the Supreme Court, and at ASU we also partner with several other agencies. That includes Secretary of State, the Attorney General, and several others that you can find on our website. And in this brief video, we're going to go over expectations for the interns that are representing ASU down at the Capitol, some of the benefits, and most importantly, a couple tips for how to apply. So this is, as I suggested, a selective program. The interns that serve at the Capitol, it's a full-time job. Plus, it's a 40-hour work week minimum. You begin in the spring semester. It takes 18 weeks from January up to May, and those hours are downtown in business attire, 8 to 5 at least, and when legislative session runs long, it can go into the evenings. So we expect our ASU interns to represent us well in terms of their work ethic, but also to go and start the internship program running, basically having some research skills, writing skills, and communication skills. This is not a get coffee kind of internship. This is a system that has been in place for almost 50 years with the ASU relationship in the Capitol. So we've been sending interns there for a while. They have a training system that helps you understand how to do your work the best you can. And the type of work, no matter where you end up in the legislative internship program, is going to be about tracking bills and legislation, researching how they have served statutory and fiscal and policy impacts, and then presenting that information both in written form and in oral testimony down at the legislature. So even if you're working for the Supreme Court or the Secretary of State, these offices, they have concerns and interests in legislation. So they have bills that they need to track. So regardless of whether you end up at a specific agency or down at the House or the Senate, then you will be tracking legislation and reporting on its possible impacts. So this work experience is so valuable. You get trained to do real legislative and policy research and public speaking. Now, what you benefit from is essentially 12 undergraduate credit hours and 9 if you're a graduate student. You get the whole spring tuition paid for that semester, and then you also get a $4,700 stipend. So you get the credits, the experience, and the stipend once you're accepted. The hours are tough, but the experience is great professionally and personally, at least according to our other interns. So please check out some of our testimonials. Now, how do you apply? There's the applications available on our website, the basics are there. So in this video, I wanted to let you know just some tips that might not be so obvious. This is selective, a selective internship in which you need to be precise, you need to be accurate, and follow whatever directions their application puts out. So the legislature has provided the application that we make available on our website. When they say, please type your responses, do not handwrite responses on that application. So follow their instructions carefully. Answer every one of the questions that they have. Any of these incomplete applications, if you're missing a letter or you're missing your transcripts, they simply won't go any farther. So they would be considered incomplete and ineligible. So follow all the basic directions. Okay, that seems obvious. We also expect that your writing sample, the writing sample is completely 100% free of typos. Now, these tips might seem obvious, but just keep them in mind and have someone else double check your work. All right, the less obvious tips. This is a political environment. This is a legislature that has multiple parties represented. So I would say the bulk of the internships down there at the Capitol are bipartisan. You are serving a committee that is needing you to research on a certain topic. Now, there are partisan caucuses that some interns will be assigned to, and there are some agencies that are headed by partisan elected officials. So those agencies have essentially interns that they hire that fit a particular party. However, what you should take into consideration when you're filling out the application is the bipartisan nature of being a legislative staff. They're not asking you to advocate a particular policy or partisan position. They're asking you to summarize and objectively report fiscal implications, statutory implications, and the basics of the bill. So consider that when you're answering the question about your political leanings. So be sure to be truthful, but be effective. Now, another question that comes up is they'll ask on the application, do you know any elected officials that are currently down at the Capitol? And for this, what I strongly recommend is that you limit that to individuals that you know well. So if you've met a senator or a representative once or twice, those are not the names that you should be putting on there. Only if you have close ties, friendly ties, family ties to a particular current representative should you include that information in the application. The other aspects is make sure that you have asked for your letters of recommendation early. There needs to be 2 letters of recommendation. One has to be from someone, a professor, that knows your writing, that knows your work. And the second one can be from an employer, but we strongly recommend that you really only include letters that are not friends of the families with high titles, but people that can really speak to your academic ability, your work ethic, your writing, your research ability, your critical thinking. So think of those people that can write those kinds of letters. Ask them early because the deadline for the application is in mid-September, so it comes up fast. So I hope that this video was helpful. We have high expectations for the interns in this program. We try to match them with substantial benefits, and I hope these tips were helpful in making you a success as an applicant.